In this chapter, we're going to go through every verse and translate and explain just like we always do. And since the topic is about how the third Beit HaMikdash looks and it's very detailed, I'm also going to show some pictures and visualize it in order that you should be able to understand it better. And the topic of this shir is the chambers. There were 4 chambers which are unique to the third Beit HaMikdash, which were not present in the second and the first Beit HaMikdash. And they were on the northern and southern sides of the Hichol and the Ezras Nashim. And these chambers had different functions, like, for example, they're able to eat the kachim, which are certain sacrifices which had a higher level of sanctity, which you couldn't eat anywhere in Jerusalem. It had to be only in specific places. And it is also going to discuss the Temple Mount. And in the second Beit HaMikdash, the Temple Mount had a certain size, which it had to be, and the third Beit HaMikdash is going to be much bigger. It's going to be 36 times the size of the second Beit HaMikdash. So that's a topic for the end of this chapter. The angel took me to the outer courtyard, which is Ezras Nashim, through the northern gate. He brought me to this chamber, and I circled the chamber to show there's actually 4 chambers, but first we're going to discuss the northern chambers. And the place of this chamber is Asher Neged HaGizra. It's against the structure, the Heichel, Asher Neged HaBinyan, and it's against the cells, which the cells call it Binyan, Alatzafin, to the north. So first starting from the north. And if you come out of the northern side, it's facing the 100 cubits of length. Pesach Hatzafin, if you go out the door on the northern side, and there is a width of 50 ames on the other side, meaning if you go out from the north until the outer wall, there's a width of 50 ames. Neged Esrin, and it's against the 20 ames, which is on the inner courtyard. So we could see that between the Heichel and the wall of this chamber is 20 ames. The Neged Ritzva, is also corresponding to the Ritzva, which is a balcony which was with stone, which is called Exustra, which this was for the outer courtyard. And now describing how these chambers would be structured. Atik, up in the Atik, Bashlishim. There was a pillar facing a pillar on the Shlishim, means like the 3-story structure. So basically I show with these blue dots where these Atikim, where these wooden pillars would stand, and the point of it was, because it was so tall, they needed some more support. And to get to before the chambers, which this refers to this 20 ames space, as I showed you before. In order to get there, you have to go the Eser Ames Reichav ala Primis. You have to go to this 10 cubit walkway. As you could see in blue that this is in between the Beis HaChalifes, the knife depository, and the actual chamber. So if you walk between that, and you'll be able to get to this 20 ames space. Derech Am Achas, and there was a 1 cubit gap in the wall, which you were able to go through to this area, as you can see in the picture. You can see this 1 ames space. And another point, and the openings of this chamber were primarily in the north, which was facing the outer courtyard, this balcony of stone, which I just mentioned. Now, in describing this chamber, we say about the shachas al yenes and the upper chambers, which refers to the ones which are more western. And why they called al yenes upper? Because remember, when you went up you went up the mountain, so the ones that are more west, you already have to go up more steps, so they're called upper. Ketsures, they're short. What do you mean? That means the first two floors were shorter because these beams, these supports, took out a little bit. Because these supports, these pillars, would eat from those from the bottom and from the middle, binyan, some of the structure. And you can see in these yellow supports on the left picture, on the left side, you see these three supports. You see that there's two times it says Chol Alishkes. It says there was this floor, and from those two floors, you can see that from the outside that this yellow support is there, and obviously from the inside it's taking up a little space. But on the top floor, this support did not have to be there, so the interior of the third floor didn't lose anything from this support. And we're explaining why do we need these supports, because there are three floors, and therefore it's very important to have supports. And didn't have regular supports that usual courtyards have, because those supports are right next to the walls and they won't hold up the walls. And therefore we had to have specifically what we called before that tikim, arcane, netzel, metachtonis, metachtonis, aretz. Therefore it was separated from the bottom ones and from the middle ones. It was missing part of their interior. And the reason why it took from them is because they were closer to the ground, as opposed to the top floor, which is distant from the ground. We do not need these atikim because it's only the top floor, so it only went 2/3. And the wall, which was to the outside, lumas alishkes, lumas amashaches, corresponding to the chambers, which faces the outer courtyards of Pnei Shachis, towards the face of the chambers, which is referring to the eastern side. That is Arkin Chavishim Amma, that is 50 Amis. For the length of the chambers which were on the outer courtyard, they were from north to south, Chamishim Amma, there were 50 Amis. But on the face of the sanctuary, from east to west, that is Mea Amma, 100 Amis. And I just show the picture again on the right side, even though I showed I wanted to visualize it a little bit more on the left side, just to show you where that tikkun, where those pillars were. And on the right side, I just showed that on the right side of the Heichal, the structure was 50 by 100 Amis. Now we're going to discuss the Mekachas of the Shachas, and underneath those chambers, which I circled in blue. This is more the eastern. Hamevi me Hakadim, as you approach from the east. When you come to them, from the outer courtyard. To the width of the wall of the courtyard from the east, which means that the eastern wall, meaning to say of the Lishka, which was more western, but the wall on its eastern wall, and we say Apnei Gizra, corresponding to the Heichal, the structure of the binyan and corresponding to the cells, as we explained before, the shachos are its chambers, and it's the shachos. It's we use the plural language because it had many different cells in this lishka. And there was a way before that. That means just like on the western side, there was a 50 amas space between the north of the chamber and the outer courtyard. Kamari the shachis and it looked just like the chambers which were on the northern side, which refers to again the upper chambers, which we explained in great detail. Ka'arkan, Kinachban. So just like their length and just like their width, also exactly matching and all going out, all the doors were just like the upper chambers of Mishpatan, and also all its different details, like its height, and also the same amount of doors. And now, before we mentioned the doors on the northern side of the chamber, now so too that like it was the same doors to the chamber which was on the southern side, but there was one difference that there was Pesach Breish Dorach. There was a opening and the beginning of the place, which is called a derech, a way, derech bifnei hagderes agina, which this area which you go into is the way before the place which was made out of the platform of the singers, as it was called, which means to say that if you look closely at this picture, the place where this chamber opens into is into what's called the Esses Yisrael. If you go a little further, is the what we called the duchen. The places there was a bunch of steps where the Levites would sing, and that's called Deres Hagina, the platform of the singers. So it's opening into the derech, which is before the derech sagina, the way which is before this platform. There's a Yisrael, derech hakadin levayam, which is east. If you go to this duchan, this place where the Levium would sing, and the angel tells him, "V'yemer Elai," and he tells me, "Lishkas asafin, lishkas adarim," the northern chamber and the southern chamber, al shapnei gizra, which was corresponding to the sanctuary, the Hichel, Heina, Lishchos HaKodesh, they are holy chambers, the Sheyechel Sham HaKonim, the kohanim would eat over there, Shekreivim Hashem, Kachim, which they would come close to Hashem, and they would come to serve him, and they would eat over there, the Kachim, the Holy of Holies, these sacrifices that you're only able to eat in the holy area of the Beit HaMikdash, not in the whole Jerusalem, like Kachim Kalim. Sham Yanichu Kachi Hakachim. Over there they would place their kachim to eat it later. Mincha, Vachatas, Ve'asham, and also different types of other offerings. The mincha, chatas, asham, I'm not going to get into them, but they're also kachim, kamakim, kaddish, because the place is holy and has what's called kedushas hazara, the holiness that the hazara has. And we say, B'vayim HaKohanim, when the Kohanim will come, V'layitzim HaKodesh Al Chatzar Chetzona, the Kohanim will not leave with their priestly clothes, the big kuna. They will not go to Chatzar Chetzona to the outer courtyard. Esham Yanichu V'gdeim Asher Yishartzev, and over there they would place their clothes which they served, because they are these clothes, these big kuna are holy. And they would wear other clothes, and then the Vakarva Shalom, they would be able to come close to the people of the nation. And now he finished the finished the measurements of the inner house, and he took me out through the gateway, which was facing eastward, and now he starts measuring the entire Temple Mount, the entire Har HaBayit, all around. Madad Roch HaKodim, he measures the eastern side, the Knei Amida, with this measuring rod, which we said before was 6 amis. Chamesh Meis Konim, it was 500 konim, these rods, the Knei Amida, Saviv, with this measuring rod all around, which comes out to 3,000 amis. You can see this in the picture. Madad Roch HaTzafin, now he comes and he measures the northern side, Chamesh Meis Konim, 500 rods, B'Knei Amida Saviv, with this measuring rod all around. Eis Roch HaDarim, and the southern side, Madad, he measured Chamesh Meis Konim, 500 rods, B'Knei Amida, with the measuring rod. Saviv Roch HaYam, he went around the western side, Madad Chamesh Meis Konim, he measured 500 rods, B'Knei Amida, with the measuring rod. So it was 500 of these rods, which are 3,000 amis on all sides, and this is really the area comes out to be like 36 times larger than the Har HaBayit of the second Beit HaMikdash. So La'arba Ruchos Medada, he measured all 4 sides. Chaymelei Saviv, it had a wall all around. Reicha Oirech Chamesh Meos, its length was 500 amis. Reicha Chamesh not amis, rods, which were 3,000 amis. Reicha Chamesh amis, Chamesh Meos, and its width was also 500 rods, which were 3,000 amis. Lahavdim in a kodesh lachol, and the reason why they made this wall was that in order to separate between holy and what's mundane, and the reason is because halachically the Har HaBayit, the Temple Mount, is special in this that certain impurities like zavim and nides and yodes are not allowed to come into there when they're impure, and therefore we have to make it possible for people to know where to not go any further.